Marcus,
Sean,
how is trade going? Your
dude, my trade is building this week. I'm building my stack, and I'm building a lot of Bitcoin stuff. So yeah, and we've got some fights going on Twitter. How's
oh,
your trade going?
are you building some fights of your own?
Nah, I guess I just like to join in some fights. Or yeah, I actually tried to instigate some fights, but
Really? What
then I
what fights
instigated
were
and I
you
walk away.
instigating?
I don't know why. For some reason, I felt like I came across this song. It's really funny, right? Because I'm in the Caribbean, so now when I open up like my Instagram Reels or the YouTube Shorts,
Yes.
now and then these like Caribbean filtering in instead of like Dutch content. So I guess the algo adapts to like the region that you're in. So I'm
No.
getting like more of these like Caribbean songs and Caribbean. And there was this one song that was like Monday, I got nothing to do. Tuesday, me got nothing to do. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, nothing to do. And it just made me think of somebody and I had to make a meme about it.
I saw
I don't
that.
know if you've seen it, but it was so yeah, that was the closest I got to a fight, but I just made it. I posted the meme and I walked away. That's it. How about you?
I
I know we've got a special episode today, guys, because let me just introduce Sean here a little bit because as you can see, he has no longer in the basement of his mom with the blue lights and the and the
my
purple
mom.
lights.
That's not
But
my mom.
I'm hearing waves in the background.
Are
There's
you
no
really hearing
wind,
waves?
but
Or are you not hearing waves?
dude, I'm totally hearing waves. They're like, you must be close to the ocean, or am I hearing things?
Those are waves. Those are definitely waves. I can hear them. I don't know if the microphone's picking them up, but I don't even know if you're joking around because you said before the show you couldn't hear them, so I have no idea what to believe.
We cannot hear the waves because you have a really good microphone that blocks out any of those background noises. But there are definitely waves behind you because you are in.
El Zante, let's go. I'm in El Zante, everybody, and I'm never leaving. No, I'm just joking. Uh, I'll be leaving.
You rejected your U.S. passport. You've got a El Salvadorian residency now.
I'm no longer paying American taxes, uh, but actually, I still gotta pay those things. Sucks. I wish I didn't have to.
No, are we? I mean, everybody knows by now that you're planning the biggest Bitcoin halving party of 2024. As far as we know, it's the only Bitcoin 2024 physical Bitcoin halving party.
Yes.
You're down in El Salvador, in El Zonte. You're scouting locations. You're meeting up
Yes.
with people. Well, go ahead, man. Like, how long have you been there? What have you seen? Are you paying in Bitcoin every day? I
Yeah.
mean, you're
That's
a basketball player. Are you like building like a gut with like pupusas? What's going on?
no. We are okay. So let's timestamp this. Today is Monday, August 22nd, 9:54 p.m. in beautiful El Zante, El Salvador. Bitcoin's current price is $21,300 and some change, down 0.64% in the last
Crazy cheap,
4 hours.
crazy cheap. Can you believe we still get the stack at these levels? Anyway, continue. Sorry.
It's amazing, so cheap, and most people still have no idea. They don't even know what the halving is, but we're planning the halving party. So yeah, exactly. I'm just down here. More than anything, I'm just trying to find a great place to bring a couple thousand Bitcoiners to. I really want to have it in El Salvador. We found a location today that's insane. I think it's really good. It is about an hour from El Zante, but it's perfect. There will be one day that El Zante is really small for anyone who doesn't know, which I
Are
didn't.
we actually revealing the location
No,
of this possible? Okay.
not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. It's not, everything's not buttoned up, but the location is, we're zoning in on that location. I have uh, I have a few guys that came down with me. I'm not scouting by myself. And this meme factory party, the Bitcoin halving party, is going to be the best Bitcoin halving party to ever exist. And the meme factory does not exist, but the halving party does, and it'll be physical. So come on out. I don't want to get you too hyped because it's not for another 18 months. We're going to do it, well, 19 months. We're going to do it in March 2024. So I'm going to ease my way, just ease it in there. You know,
it's funny how much DMs we've been getting already, and these are going to be some of the scarcest tickets. I think we don't even going to have to like promote the sales. It's going to be crazy, guys. So anyway, we don't even have the website yet where you can register, but it will be there.
we did get the domain name, so that's good.
Right.
And we're not even going to tell you guys what the domain name is yet. So. Okay, well, let's talk about Bitcoin because the halving party is great, and I'm in the, or we can even talk about El Zante, which I would love to talk about.
Yeah, you're obviously there for the halving party, so that's the reason. Not only that, there's an obvious reason why this is the best location for the halving party.
Yeah.
El Salvador.
Why don't we?
Only nation. Yeah.
Why don't, before we get into this, because this is the show that we wish we would have had when we first started learning about Bitcoin, why don't we explain what the halving is and what it means for Bitcoin? And is the halving priced in? Okay, Bitcoin halving, for those of you who may be new or who haven't thought about it for a while, you know what it is, but you don't know how to explain it. The Bitcoin halving is every 4 years, or actually every 2010 blocks in the blockchain, Bitcoin's blockchain, every 2010 blocks, which normally amounts to about every 4 years, the mining of Bitcoin, the block reward that comes out with Bitcoin, that block reward gets cut in half. So Bitcoin becomes exponentially more and more scarce. While at the same time, dollar, the euro, the yen, every currency becomes more and more abundant. They get printed and printed and printed left and right. So if you think about simple supply and demand economics 101, what happens when something gets more scarce and the money that the country uses gets more abundant? If something gets more scarce, there's less supply. Even if demand stays the same, the price normally goes up. So that's what we've seen is about after the next 18 months after a halving, the price of Bitcoin always goes up. You normally get a lot of miners that try to mine Bitcoin before the halving because they know that they can get a bigger block reward, and the block reward is decreasing fairly quickly. So they're trying to get as much hash power onto the network because it's just more economical for the miners. And then the halving occurs, and then those miners who are smart enough and strong enough and resilient enough, they stay miners. And the ones who aren't strong enough and resilient enough, then they go out of business, and that's good. It's called creative destruction. So the halving is something that's amazing. Satoshi, some people say that he wasn't that smart. Other people say he was a genius. The halving is a very genius move by Satoshi, in my opinion. Your thoughts, Marcus?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Bitcoiner's Guide. We've had 3 halvings so far.
Yep.
Imagine in the beginning you were able to mine Bitcoin on a laptop, and the Bitcoin protocol would basically give out 50 new Bitcoins every 10 minutes. They were abundant, they were easy to come by, and they were pretty much worthless at the time. Literally worthless, and just until before Pizza Day. After the first halving, that block reward went from 50 Bitcoins every 10 minutes to 25. Right now we're at a little over 6 Bitcoins every 10 minutes, and that's going to get halved to about like 3 1/8, if I'm not wrong. That means in another 8 years, it's going to be less than 1.5 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. And all I can imagine is all those mining sites all around the world, big and small, all that energy being used where everybody's trying to get that block reward for just, like such an insanely small amount of Bitcoin. So it kind of completely makes sense, when something's abundant and easy to come by, the price reflects that, and the halving just makes it harder and harder to get that so coveted Bitcoin. So yeah, I can't wait for the halving because
think about as a guy, right? You try to go after every single girl. You're desperate. You're always hitting her up. She has an abundance of you. You're not getting the girl because you're just too easy. That's easy money. That's what, yeah, fiat is easy money. But Bitcoin, that's hard money. That's the guy that's like, hey, I'm a no nonsense type of guy. You mess around, I'm gonna make you pound sand. See you later. That's what Bitcoin
Yep.
is. So
And another thought, right? You mentioned like, is it priced in already? You know, honestly, I think you just, yeah, is it priced in? Yeah, I think to some extent, you know, there are miners that are literally mining at like a loss because they're just anticipating on that price rise.
yes,
So in a sense, they are pricing in, you know, like that. So in a sense, I think it's always priced in. Most people that are really into Bitcoin, they know about halving, but at the same time, you cannot, if something is still abundant right now, the price will reflect it, you know? So can you even price it in? It's like, if something is abundant, you can be like, yeah, but it's not going to be abundant in the future. Yeah, but until it isn't, you know, people act as if it's always abundant. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's like I often compare it to like musical chairs, you
yes,
know. And
yeah,
imagine you have like this big dancing room or conference center or whatever, and it's like fully chairs, you know, and there's a lot of people in that room, but there are like plenty of chairs, you know, and everybody's playing this game of musical chairs. But as long as there's like enough chairs, nobody's really panicking, right? And nobody's like hogging all the chairs, because why would you spend your time hogging all these chairs while there's still enough chairs around, you know? But
yes,
then as half of those chairs get taken away and people actually end up without a seat, people start paying attention, and, you know, they start really playing the game more serious. And then as you take away more and more chairs, you know, people, they act, but until that music stops and more chairs get taken away, you know, people just, yeah, they adapt to the current situation. And yeah, you only really, yeah, so in a sense, I think it cannot be priced in. So I think it will always have an impact. But
yeah.
maybe that's wishful thinking. I don't know.
Hey,
We'll see.
we had Dr. Jeff on the Meme Factory podcast this last week, and you know, he says that Bitcoin's halving cycles don't mean anything anymore for the price of Bitcoin. He thinks it's all macro related. And I understand that, right? But I still think that the halving is somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. People have seen the pumps after the halvings, so it's just natural that more and more people are going to get into Bitcoin after, right during, before, during, or after the halving. Historically, the price of Bitcoin has actually kind of dipped a little bit right before the halving. So, you know, right as the halving occurs, price is normally dipping. And that could be for a multitude of reasons. But that's something to pay attention to. Will the halving be priced in? I agree with you, Marcus. I don't think the halving can ever be priced in. But
The thing is, a lot of people forget that, you know, especially in Bitcoin, where we have proof of work, if the price goes up too fast, right, then miners become massively profitable.
yes,
And there's two ways. There's always two ways of getting Bitcoin. If you don't want to pay for it, you can just put in the work and you get paid. You know, like secure the Bitcoin network and you get paid in Bitcoin. So if
yeah,
the price is too high for you and it's cheaper to do it with mining, then you do it through mining. And as mining becomes increasingly difficult and you have to put more and more work into it, you know, yeah, it's the the price, you know, literally the amount of energy, whether it's work or electricity or whatever you put in, goes up.
yes,
And that's a balancing system, because if it becomes like, if it becomes too cheap, people stop mining, and they just be like, oh, why would I mine it if I could just buy it at cheap? You know, so it's like
yeah,
a self-correcting mechanism.
yeah. And
So
then
in my opinion, the halving is definitely not priced in. I think it's impossible, even though everybody knows it's coming. Um, yeah, until it happens,
You can't price
it
it.
happens. Yeah, right.
Price is
Even though
created
you
on
know
the
it,
margins.
even though you know it coming. And I understand the argument that like that the the incremental, like the incremental bitcoins that are for sale coming from freshly mined Bitcoin is becoming less and less because there are already so much Bitcoins in circulation. So you could argue that most selling pressure or Bitcoins offered on the market are coming from people that are already holding it.
I don't think that's the case. I just don't think that's the case. I think there's trading going on in the margins, and as people get to understand Bitcoin more, and as big institutions get to understand Bitcoin more, then the price gets pumped up higher because people are like, dude, everyone's buying this, and everyone's a buyer. When everyone's a buyer, you don't want to be the guy selling while everyone else is buying. You want to be buying along with everybody and joining the party, joining that rocket ship to the moon.
Yep. Yeah, so it's going to be exciting to see what happens in those 6 to 12 months after the halving, or maybe 3 to 12 months. Who knows? Maybe it'll go faster this time. Maybe there will be another run up towards the halving, and then like sell the news kind of event after the halving, and then another run up because then the scarcity really kicks in. But it seems to have like this obvious laggy effect, where it takes a little, I don't know, 3 to 12 months to really, before the market really reacts to that new found scarcity level. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. If anything, it's a great marketing moment for Bitcoin. It's like the Bitcoin Olympics, and we get to throw a party in Zante. It's a good reason to party.
Yeah, it's a great reason. Honestly, it's a great reason to throw a party. Bitcoiners deserve a party. Bitcoin deserves a party. And who better to throw the party for a halving than a guy who's half black, half white? That'd be me. And the Meme Factory. The Meme Factory isn't half black, half white. It's a lot more
Meme
white.
Factory is half black, half white.
No, there's a lot more white people in the Meme Factory than there are black people. White people than black people. What about
this conversation is going south real fast.
I'm just saying it. I'm just pointing out the facts.
I can hear Pedro already calling you out. That's racist, Sean.
Yeah, good. That's what a racist would say, Pedro.
Hey, just to come back to Bitcoiner's Guide. I was talking to my dad of all people like 2 days ago, and we were talking about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
One of those few moments. I mean, my dad's a Bitcoiner. He owns Bitcoin. He's definitely not a Bitcoin maximalist. I would say he knows very little about Bitcoin, but
does he know what the halving is?
He does, because I've explained it to him. But would he be able to explain it to you? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's so. Did he explain it back to somebody?
I think not exactly, but when I explained the halving to him, he literally told me, so this Satoshi was a very smart guy. So he's starting to ask better and better questions.
Yeah.
But he asked me, and this is again price related, so he's like, but why are we seeing the price of Bitcoin going down right now?
It's kind of staying the same. Is it really going down right now? It went down, and now it's kind of stayed the same.
But so what I told him was, I told him like everything goes in cycles, right?
Yes.
I mean, you can start like anywhere in that cycle, whether it's the top or the bottom. So I said, let's start at the top. Everybody was buying. Everybody's like getting confirmation. The price is going up. Everybody's buying. And then, at one point, everybody that was going to buy had bought and is now like in with the money that they want, and they're all waiting. And then there's like people who bought earlier that are being like, oh, this thing is looking kind of toppy, I'm going to take some profits because it's probably going to drop. And then after everybody's bought already, then the balance starts to swing in favor of more sellers, and there's less and less new buyers coming in. So then this correction starts happening. The new buyers start getting scared. you know, they just bought in and now they see the price going down. They're like, hey, what's going on? I was promised this thing was going to go to 150K. It's not happening. They lose some more money. You know, the 10% was okay, but then 20% is like, whoa, this is not good. I'm starting to sell too. And then, you know, it goes lower and lower, more people start getting scared. They sell. At the same time, as it goes lower, more people start thinking, hey, you know, this might be a good time to buy. So it's like this balance where you have like more sellers. Now there's a little bit more buyers coming in again, but there's still more sellers than buyers. Price still not doing anything. Even if we're going sideways, people are starting to get bored. This thing is not going anywhere. They get out. And at one point, everybody that has gotten scared or is getting bored sold,
Yes.
or has sold. And now you're at this opposite point where you get like seller fatigue. There's like basically no more sellers left, right? Everybody that was not really convicted or convinced.
Consolidation.
Yeah, they've all sold now. All the hodlers and the stackers and guys like you and me, we just keep stacking every month and we buy some more Bitcoin. Now the price started to move sideways, going to go up again, and then we get the reverse of the cycle. And now new people are going to be like, hey, this thing is going up again, and we get like this new cycle where price starts to run again.
Yes.
That's and every time the floor gets lifted higher and higher because we got more and more people that are holding more and more Bitcoin with conviction for a longer time frame. And so it's only a matter of time, in my opinion. And that seemed to have convinced him because he's literally in the process of selling one of his properties. And
to buy Bitcoin?
He told me, that was the grand finale I was going to tell you. He's not using it all, but he's going to put a serious portion of that into Bitcoin. So that was a good sign.
Marcus's dad, if you can hear this, if you watch Bitcoiner's Guide, which you may or may not, good on you. You will not regret this move. I'm telling you, wait for 10 years. You will look like a genius. Good work. Now, everyone else, this is not financial advice. So make your own moves at your own risk. Never panic sell. And you'll see how you can win. But good move, Marcus's dad. You got a good son.
The first rule of Bitcoin, Sean, is you never sell Bitcoin.
You never sell. Don't sell it. But you can spend it when you're in El Salvador. That's not a pleb faux pas. That is a good thing. That's a good move. Because
tell us about that, because everybody is of course saying we have legal tender in El Salvador. You're there right now.
Yes, I am.
I'm sure you have like a wallet loaded up. Are you using? Can you tell us a little bit like how that process went? Is it easy? Are you using like Lightning, the second layer? Are you like making Bitcoin transactions? Where can you pay? Where can't you pay? Did you get any questions at the airport? I mean, what happened?
So coming through the airport, no vaccine, no PCR test, no problem. That's what I'm talking about. That's the life I like to live. Freedom. So that was great. When you come in, you got to pay a $12 immigration fee. You can pay that in Bitcoin. Guess who did it? This guy. I paid it in Bitcoin. That was my first thing I paid in Bitcoin.
Really? You paid the immigration fee in Bitcoin?
That's awesome. Bitcoin. It was $12 worth of sats. Although I've noticed when you do a Lightning transaction over the Chivo wallet, there's...
Okay, move back. What is the Chivo wallet? Did you install it?
No,
what are you talking about?
I did not install the Chivo wallet. I will not install the Chivo wallet. I think the Chivo, so here's my thoughts. The Chivo wallet is the El Salvadorian national Bitcoin Lightning wallet. The cool features about it is that you can toggle back from Bitcoin to dollars, which is pretty cool. The reason why I wouldn't use it is, first of all, it's a government wallet. Second of all, it was created fairly quickly. And third of all, I noticed, being created quickly isn't terrible, right? I think the biggest thing is I've noticed that when I pay in Bitcoin, say if I normally like to use wallet of Satoshi. So if I pay someone a Blue Wallet or someone pays me for Moon or something like that on the Lightning Network, normally there's like a 0 sat fee or a 1 sat fee. But when I pay on Chivo, like I just paid for dinner and it was like a 25 cent, sorry, a 25 sat fee, which I was like, all
Okay.
right, you know, that's not terrible, but
let's do the math here.
every stat matters.
$1 is 400. Sorry, $1 is about 4,200 sats at the moment.
1 sat equals 1 sat. I'm a sat. Every sat counts. When I get
Absolutely.
25, when I get 25 sats from playing the Thunder games, they pass me those sats. I need those sats. Those are important sats to me. I spin the wheel on the Fold app. I need those sats. Those are important to me. If I'm buying, you know, spinning my card and I got the Bitcoin rewards, I need all of them. So I don't like paying fees. And Chivo has a little bit higher of a fee from what I've noticed. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but from what I've noticed, there is a little bit more.
All right. But I'm just going to play because I completely agree with you, right? I mean, if you're used to doing Lightning transactions over wallet of Satoshi, if I send you some sats or you send me some sats, you know, or we ask Rusty to make some artwork for us, you know, we send some sats over the line, and or when we're sending some sats to Bitcoin Kindergarten, or when we're donating to Hodlonaut, you know, like there are barely any fees in there. We're talking like single digit fees, right, in sats. So now you're saying Chivo is charging 25 sats per transaction, which is still a very small amount. Let's be honest, because in my calculation, if $1, let's round it off to 4,000 sats. You know, I know it's a little bit more than 4,000. Let's say it's 4,000 sats. That means that 40 sats would be 1 cent.
Yes.
So 25 cents is about a little over half a cent. So the fees are less than a cent, right? It's behind the comma of cents. So it's super low.
I need my half a cent.
Visa can't touch this. Any other payment system cannot compare, but still we're Bitcoiners. We're critical.
I'm complaining over half a cent fee when normally if you buy a $10 meal, you're paying, the merchant's paying a 3% fee, right? Or you pay it, the merchant pushes it onto the customer normally.
Do we know where those fees end up? Is this something that like Chivo wallet is using?
That's what I imagine.
Is it going to like the tax coffers of El Zante or El Salvador?
I imagine it's going to El Salvador because.
Or it pays for Chivo, you know, for the upkeep of that, because they should. They probably have.
I imagine they're routing it through the Chivo node, if I'm not mistaken. Chivo probably has a few nodes, Lightning nodes spun up, and I bet that to route payments, they route them through their node. I could be way off, so someone correct me.
We don't know.
If you're watching this and you're like,
if you know,
and you're like, Sean, you're being an idiot right now. This is totally normal. Or Chivo doesn't run them through their own Lightning node, then correct me. But what I imagine is they're running it through their own node, and they have put their fees very high, like very high for Lightning, and so then that's how that's why you're seeing these higher fees than normal on the Lightning Network, is because those transactions are getting routed through Chivo's, which is El Salvador's Lightning node. So on every transaction, El Salvador is making more sats than normal on it.
But like you said, Chivo has the option that, you know, if a merchant accepts Lightning sats or Bitcoin, they do have that option to immediately swap it to dollars, right? So I imagine there might be some cost to operate that as well, you know, but yeah. Who knows? It could be partly going to Strike or other third parties who are helping to build that and maintain that infrastructure.
So going back to what we were saying, look, I didn't even really want to talk too much about Chivo. I don't really have an issue with El Salvador doing what they want to do. I'm just saying, if you're the consumer, just be aware of what could happen. Maybe you want to get yourself a couple of different Lightning wallets so you can test them out and see which one suits you best, which one you like best. Don't feel
Yeah.
like because your country creates one wallet that you got to use that wallet. You should feel free to use any wallet you want. Now, if you like your country's wallet, then go ahead and use your country's wallet if you've tested it.
Yeah.
But
you were paying the immigration tax or whatever, so this was a Chivo wallet that you were paying to, and that's why you had to pay that extra.
I would say most places that accept Bitcoin in El Salvador are accepting Bitcoin through Chivo, because that's
Okay.
their first touch point to a Bitcoin wallet was from the government telling them you can use Chivo, and they weren't really saying, hey, like you can, because Chivo is a send and receive, and you can toggle back and forth from sats to dollars, right? Where if you use something like Strike, even Strike, you can't receive on Strike, you can't receive sats on Strike, so you can't get it.
There's some irony there, Sean. If you think about it, it's like, all right, a lot of people are like, oh, what is Bitcoin and what is scared? Oh, the government tells me this is a governmental built app, so now we can trust this app. This is just exactly what Bitcoin is not about, because Bitcoin is about being trustless,
Yes.
Satoshi's built a system where we can use, we can use Bitcoin without having to use any government approved app. But because there's also so many stories about scams, and there are literal scams around the Bitcoin ecosystem, not in Bitcoin, but like in the whole cryptocurrency scammy, that people still rely on, like, they're just so trained and used to being, first somebody needs to tell me, an official needs to tell me that this is safe, and then I'll be happy to use it. A lot of people are conditioned this way, and that's why they end up using a Chivo wallet instead of just, any open source, Bitcoin wallet.
I would say, being down here in El Salvador, so for those of you who don't know, I lived in Honduras for 2 years. That was from 2009 to 2011. And I learned to speak Spanish back in those years. Since then, I've played basketball in Colombia. The last 2 years, I played basketball in Spain. But the first time I ever left the country, it was for Central America. So I really love Central America. To me, it really feels like a second home. Spanish is where I learned it. I know most of the slang down here. I love the people down here in Central America. El Salvador, there's something magic about it. You go around the country. I've been driving around all day today throughout a lot of the country, and it's so green that it'll just blow your mind how green it is down here. It is humid, it's hot, it's tropical. Get used to that. There's great beaches out here. There's great surfing if you want to learn how to surf, or if you know how to surf. It's just awesome. And then on top of all of that, right? To me, this is like a second home. I feel like it was a homecoming when I came back here. Just the smells, the environment, speaking Spanish in the Central American way, being able to talk to people, eating the food down here is so good. It's just been really fun for me to be down here. I think I'm glad that I made this trip down here. I'm going to be here for more than a week. I still have more than a week left before I go back home. So I can't wait to come. I'm already excited to come back down here, and I haven't even left yet. And so it's just a really fun place to be. And I think, anyone who comes down here, they all say the same thing. There's some magic in El Zante. It blows your mind in different ways. Everyone, you can ask, every time you buy something, you ask, hey, can I buy this in Bitcoin? Can I pay for it in Bitcoin? And it's, 80-90% of the time in El Zante, it's a yes. Other places, if you're in the capital, it might be 50-50. I had dinner in the capital in San Salvador the other night, paid for it in Bitcoin. It was awesome. In San Salvador, in a great restaurant. So even in San Salvador, there's places that you can pay, and people don't look at you funny. When you're in a different country, you go, hey, can I pay for that in Bitcoin? Some people might look at you like, what are you even talking about? But out here, it's like, yeah, or it's like, oh no, we don't, not, but they know in the back of their mind, they know we're going to have to accept it. You know, I even rented a car out here, and the guy at first said, "Hey, you know, you can't pay for this in Bitcoin." And I said, "Hey, look, you know," he's like, you have to do it in cash." So,
Wow.
and I said, "Look, it's gonna take me a lot longer to go get
You told him Bitcoin is cash.
yeah, I know. I just said, yeah. I said, hey, it's gonna take me a long time to go find an ATM. I gotta go find an ATM, pull out a bunch of cash, hold it on me, because he was dropping the car off. Hold it on me until you come out here, tell Zante. And I was like, this would be much easier if we could pay for this in Bitcoin. And I was like, and I bet that in the future you're gonna have some customers who would just choose a different car rental agency, because the other car rental agencies will allow them to pay for it in Bitcoin. And then he goes, let me talk to my boss, right? Goes talk to his boss, comes back in 10 minutes and goes, hey, we can rent it to you in Bitcoin. We'll drop it off tomorrow at 12 noon. Boom, perfect. Shut up the next day, drop the car off. I paid for it in Bitcoin, and I didn't have to go get out cash. And so I think for most people, this would blow their minds, right? Like if I showed my family this, it would blow their minds. If I showed my friends, some friends that aren't Bitcoiners, even people that I haven't orange pilled, but I've helped them buy a Bitcoin and they hold it and they know that much at least, it would blow their minds, the things that are going on down here. How easy
Yeah.
it is. You know, you have some 18-year-old kid, he's working the cash register, and he's boom typing it in the numbers, boom, spinning up a QR code, an invoice on Lightning, and you're scanning it. I mean, it's an 18-year-old kid doing that. He knows how to use Bitcoin on Lightning.
Yeah.
And so and they're getting paid. So
It's literally like a first generation there in El Salvador that's now growing up, realizing that, like they won't even think about it. It's like we have the dollar and Bitcoin.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
this is actually already a fact in El Salvador.
it is a
That's
fact.
crazy. That's crazy to think
And so
about.
that's what I'm saying. I think it's just something that until you really see it firsthand and you see enough people that are buying it, things in Bitcoin, accepting things. A couple of the guys that I brought down with me to help scout out locations, they're not Bitcoiners yet. They're asking questions. They're asking the right questions. You know, I had one of my buddies. I said, "Hey, here's a wallet. Download wallet of Satoshi."
Oh, that's fun. They're not Bitcoiners yet.
Not yet, but they're asking good questions, right? And he goes, he sees me paying for things in Bitcoin, so he goes, what are you doing, right? I'm like, here, download wallet of Satoshi. And I'm
Right.
like, okay. Now, and then I walked him through how to create a receive QR code, an invoice. Said, hey, okay. I was like, I'll just give him $100 so he can buy things this whole week,
Yeah.
buy some meals and things like that. So I sent him $100. Then tonight we're eating pupusas, and he's like, okay, let me pay for everybody, right? He goes up and pays, and he's like,
With Sean's money.
I gave it to him, so it's fine, right? I think it's good, like giving people Bitcoin so they can have it in their hands, they can pay with it, they can use it. Like then that's like that's the touch point when it becomes real. It turns from this like fake money, magic internet money to
By using it,
I'm
a
buying
lot of people
pupusas.
don't understand like how it works, and you don't
Yeah.
always need to understand like the under the hood mechanisms.
No.
If you just understand, hey,
It
this is
works.
how a wallet works. I'm holding it in my wallet. This is how I send it, how I receive it. Hey,
Yeah.
this is kind of magical, And by
Yes.
the way, Sean gave me this. I didn't have to fill in my name anywhere. I didn't have to do
Yeah.
address. I didn't have to give no bank account. I didn't have to show and I'm here. I'm sending value across the world, and like getting stuff for my sets.
Yeah, and
It's
I'm
crazy.
eating a meal, and the people that are making the meal for me are taking this value, and to them it's just as valuable as it is for the service or the food that they're creating for me. And so when you connect that and then you just go, it's money. Like I'm buying things with this, and I think that was really cool. When he came back, he goes, I just did my first Bitcoin. I just paid for my first thing in Bitcoin, and it was like a proud moment for him. So those are the type of lessons that I hope that we can keep sharing with people. I got a videographer out here. I'm trying to show like, hey, I'm paying for things. Hopefully you can get me paying for things in Bitcoin, and I can tweet some of those videos out. I'll be tweeting some videos out, shilling the halving party, you know. I'll just be, but I think these things are good to get people to understand what Bitcoin is, and hopefully we can get Bitcoin in the hands of more people. Like that's my goal, is you get it in the hands of more people, then they start to understand what it is. And you know, he didn't even need, all I did was I showed him how to create, how to receive it. He did it on his own. I just told him, I scanned the money over, and then he goes, and then, you know, 5 hours later, we're eating dinner. He goes up by himself, doesn't need me, doesn't speak Spanish. The cashier didn't speak English. He goes up and pays for the meal in Bitcoin. It's
That's
like,
how easy it is.
that's
Yeah.
how easy it is. He had
Yeah.
no training whatsoever, and could do it perfectly fine. And I mean, he's a smart guy, but it's easy, right? You didn't need
Right.
any training at all whatsoever. So it's really cool.
So the past few weeks we've been hearing a lot about El Salvador and that the tourism, I believe they were like in the top 10 nations that recovered their tourism
Yeah.
to like pre-pandemic levels, and they were in all these stats, you know, of like fastest rising tourism and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And it's not only because it's, you know, Bitcoin was a huge part of it, but of course Najib Bukele, the president, you know, he's also been tackling the yeah, the gang violence and the narcos and whatnot. You know, he's a very visible president doing great things in his country. But I'm really curious, you know, like, what are you picking up on tourists? What is the vibe like? Are people actually talking about Bitcoin? I mean, you're a Bitcoiner, so you always talk about it, but like anything to mention there, or is it just
I would say when you come to El Zante, it's very like you can just start talking to people about Bitcoin, and it's not like the normal norming conversations that you're having.
do you talk to like the locals that live there,
Oh
or do you
yeah,
talk to the tourists, or
and I speak Spanish, right? So
right?
when like, first of all, there are quite a few people from all around the world in El Zante, and El Zante is small, like it is pretty small. So but when you're here, you know, you walk down the street, you might meet a person from Canada, you might meet a person from Australia, you might meet a person from Switzerland, right? And which I've done this since I've been here, and I got here just 3 days ago. And so you meet people from all over the world. People are here, and it used to be for purely surfing, you know, and now there's a lot of people that come here because of the Bitcoin. They want to understand what's going on. They want to take a part in it. And so then you talk to the locals, and I speak Spanish, and depending on who they are, some have a really good idea, right? They're orange pilled, they're Bitcoiners. Others don't really know, but it's a conversation that's easy to have, you know?
Yeah, so El Zonte is like the place that they call Bitcoin Beach, right? That's where
Yeah.
you know that it all started, even before the legal tender. In so that's a small surf area where not a lot of people come. It's a small village, but I guess when you're walking around there, I can imagine most people are either there for the surfing or they're there as kind of like a Bitcoin journey, right? And then
Yes.
when you go to the main city, it's not necessarily as Bitcoin oriented.
Yeah, that's true. But the people still know, like, like I've talked to some people out in San Salvador, and I've been in El Zante and more on the coast. La Libertad is like the general region. So I've been on the coast more than I have been in San Salvador. But even in San Salvador, I've talked to some people, and the conversations are more welcoming towards Bitcoin because it's the currency, it's the legal tender here. So it's like, yeah, this is what it is for us, you know, where if you're in the US or wherever you are and it's not legal tender, then people are like, well, what's the point? I'm never gonna, you know, they go, I'm never gonna use it, I'm never gonna need it. It's okay if I miss this investment. They don't see it as money, and they don't see it as this thing that is really helping the unbanked or the underbanked. It can change these people's lives and get them plugged into the global financial system. And it's really cool. Now there's questions,
Yeah.
right? Does that bring more tourism? Is tourism always a good thing for a country? Maybe not, but maybe it's providing more businesses, more jobs. And just like with Bitcoin, there's trade-offs in everything. So I hope
When
that
I
even with like the halving party, that we can leave El Zante and leave El Salvador a better place. Even though we're bringing a lot of people, we might be bringing more money to the country, but I also don't want to leave it in a worse place, as far as the beaches go, the countryside goes. I want to leave it in a better place that way too.
Nice. Yeah. One more thought I had about, and when Najib Bukele announced the Bitcoin law and stuff, one of the things I got really bullish from was seeing people go to, like, I believe there's like a McDonald's or in El Salvador, San
Yeah.
Salvador. And I've worked in advertising. I've literally worked for McDonald's in the Netherlands, and not directly for the company, but as a supplier in the marketing field, and a lot of other these big, brand companies, and they take a lot of this stuff really serious, right? And because of this Bitcoin law now, they were required to accept Bitcoin in
Yes.
El Salvador. And even though it might be like a franchise owned something, but when these big brands, they have to like accommodate, for this. A lot of this stuff requires approval, or at least, information sharing with the head office and stuff. So all of a sudden, like all these big countries are forced to look at this just because some tiny country in Central America made it law. And also because they made it currency, all the banks around the world had to look at this thing as well. So it's still one of those bullish things that's happening in the background. There's so many people that we never hear anything about, but trust me, it's happening in those companies. People are looking at this thing like, what's going on there? And it's opening eyes. It's forcing people to look at it, to study it. And I'm so curious to see. I would love to interview some people. Maybe we can actually get somebody from McDonald's on. I'm just an afterthought here. Somebody from the marketing department. Ask them, like, how are you guys looking at this? What have you seen, and what can you share so far?
Yeah.
And, what are you guys expecting? I don't know if they'll have anything interesting to say, but
yeah, because Wine and Kiss rugged us tonight. Just want to let everyone know. So I'm down here. Marcus knows this, but I'm down here. Wine and Kiss is also down here. And Wine and Kiss rug pulled. So we're gonna have to get someone from McDonald's. And we are in the bear market. So I'm not sure if Wine and Kiss also works at McDonald's or not. We can figure that out. Maybe he can hook us up with someone, one of his superiors at McDonald's, because he's just flipping burgers over
there. Yeah. I was actually thinking of reaching out to somebody like, I don't know, even if it would be somebody from the head office in the Netherlands, just to see if there was any information shared about this whole Bitcoin thing. And I want to see how like this information is being spread around, around the world. And, yeah, because it's anyway. Cool.
Hey, do you want to see the if I can keep?
Sure. Let's see what you got.
Okay. Well, I am in a hotel right now, so hopefully we don't lose service. But dude, there's so much. We just missed some lightning. Let me check.
Yeah, I've been seeing lightning in your background all this whole stream. So we've been seeing the lightning. No, we can't see anything.
These waves are super loud.
We can't hear the waves, and now we can barely see your head anymore. So it's just pitch black right now. So this is not working.
Yeah. Well, there's some security down by the pool. So.
Yeah. Hey, and was it easy for you to travel with Bitcoin, or any tips for the noobs there?
No, it was easy. I mean, I just took some on a hot wallet. That's all. My Lightning wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so There's a pool right here. You can't see it. It's just everything's just too dark to see right now. But it's like 10:40 at night. That's too bad because it's a pretty beautiful night out here. But
well, we're at least feeling the excitement from you that you're willing to share this wonderful view, even though we can't see anything. So
I know.
I suggest you just walk back
trees.
inside to some decent lighting. We see these lit palm trees in the back of you with a bunch of coconuts in there.
Yep.
Which reminds me, never put your towel under a palm tree or coconut tree loaded up with coconuts, because people literally died from a falling coconut. Imagine how stupid that is. Like you're in this tropical destination, you think you're drinking a pina colada under a palm tree.
Yeah.
And then a coconut falls in your head and cracks your skull.
Yeah.
we just saw some lightning again, Sean.
Yeah. That's how it is out here. It's really cool right now. Basically every night there's like, it's not raining where I am, but there's out on the ocean, you just get a bunch of lightning, Yeah. And it's been doing that for the last few hours. So that's also another reason to come down. Just really cool lightning show. And it has rained at night pretty hard a few times. Oh, that was nice.
That was a nice one.
Rained kind of hard at night a few times. So, well, if anyone's listening to this, if they're listening